for joining us. I'd like to call the May 11th, 2020 meeting of the City Council to order. Would the clerk please take the roll?
Becken,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Leo.
Here.
Lewis,
Here.
Peterson,
Here.
Truster,
Here.
Verplank.
Here.
Everyone is present and accounted for. First item is the approval of the minutes of the regular City Council meeting of April 27th. Chris,
I move we approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting of April 27th, 2020 as presented.
is there a second?
Second.
Garnet, was that you?
It was Jane.
Oh, Jane, I'm sorry. Okay, moved by Peterson, second by Verplank to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, then we'll take a roll call vote.
Peterson,
Yes.
Verplank,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Leo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Becken. Becken,
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
thank you. Truster,
Yes. The minutes of the April 27th meeting are approved. Next is a special city council meeting of April 30th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Mayor,
Barry Johnson, yes.
I move to approve the minutes of the April 30th, 2020 City Council meeting.
Is there a second?
This is
I'll
Chris.
second.
I believe Verplank got there first. So moved by Johnson, by Verplank to approve the minutes. Any discussion?
I have an item. I noticed number 6 under public comments on the special meeting. Eric Chayton, it says he's undergoing litigation, and actually I think the word's supposed to be mitigation.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put it out there that Eric's like suing or being sued. It's mitigation. So if we could just change that word, you'd be happy about that.
Thank you for that.
That's a good call.
Barry,
Mr. Mayor,
yes, Barry.
perhaps Councilperson Leo would like to amend the motion to approve them. That was a motion to approve them as submitted.
Yes. Holly, would you care to do that?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to amend the minutes with the change to the public comments.
Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second it if you be very specific in your amendment, what you want to amend.
I would like to amend public comments by Eric Chayton in section 6 to change the word litigation to mitigation with an M.
I'll agree with that.
And who had the second?
That was me.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Barry. All right, it's been moved and seconded to amend the minutes. Is this a roll call vote? I believe it is.
Leo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Becken,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Verplank,
Yes.
Truster.
Yes. Now, I believe we vote on the motion to approve the minutes.
Correct. And that means that the amendment is now part of the minutes.
Right. Is there any further discussion? Then we'll take a roll call vote again.
Leo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Becken,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Verplank,
Yes.
Truster.
Yes. So the minutes of the April 30th special city council meeting as amended are approved. Under mayor's comments, I was pleased to see over the weekend that things were pretty quiet in town and everybody was really social distancing and paying attention to the requirements of the time. It was good to note that today we saw that there were 157 cases of COVID-19 in Allegan County, which is up just a little bit, I think about 7 or 8 cases, but no new deaths were reported. So I think we've been fortunate to be pretty stable in our community. What I saw over the weekend was some pretty brisk business in the restaurants, the carryouts. It was difficult to get through on Mother's Day on the telephone to place an order. So I think we got some good activity there. On the disappointing side is that the Cow Hill Yacht Club Board of Directors yesterday decided to cancel the Venetian Festival for this year. We're at a point where we needed to firm up our contracts for the equipment and so on, and the band and so on and so forth. And we felt that we just couldn't make a commitment at this point to move ahead with that. So we're sorry to do that, but I think it's the right decision to make. Any city managers' comments? Kirk?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Rotary Club would like to install a banner under the pallet sign congratulating the 2020 graduating class at Saugatuck High School. Normally, all banners at this location are approved by City Council. However, given the current circumstances, it would be more efficient if these approvals were simply done administratively for banners associated with other governmental units such as schools. If there are no objections from City Council members, staff will proceed in this manner until our municipal operations resume to normal. I have been working with the high school principal coordinating a car parade on Thursday, May 21st at 3 p.m. for the graduating seniors. The plan the school officials have developed involves all students meeting at the high school with decorated vehicles. The city's contract sheriff deputy will escort the students in their vehicles through town. Saugatuck Public School staff will stand along Butler Street with a minimum of 6 feet distance, holding signs of encouragement. Since everyone will be in vehicles and moving at the normal speed of traffic, I did not require the school district to apply for a permit, as it will not require any roads to be blocked off. Due to the governor's executive order extended until May 28th, which is after Memorial Day, Saugatuck Public Schools notified me they will not be collecting parking revenue in the city's Culver Street parking lot in order to be compliant with the governor's order. Also, the city of Saugatuck will not be collecting revenue at Oval Beach Memorial Day weekend as well to stay compliant with the governor's order. I have talked with the city attorney, Jeff Sluggett, and he agreed that having seasonal employees collecting parking revenue did not qualify as work associated with a critical infrastructure worker, nor did it meet the intent of the governor's order for people to stay home. City facilities, including seasonal restrooms, will continue to be closed until after the executive order is lifted on May 28th. I checked with Allegan County Parks Department, and all Allegan County Park public restroom facilities are closed until June 1st. On March 13th, the president declared a national emergency for the coronavirus pandemic response to include the state of Michigan. This emergency declaration designated all counties in Michigan as eligible for assistance for Category B emergency protective measures, FEMA's Public Assistance Grant Program. I have registered the city of Saugatuck through FEMA's grant portal and attended the required applicant assistance briefing last Thursday. Right now, the city of Saugatuck does not qualify for eligible emergency protective measure reimbursement funding. This FEMA reimbursement program is primarily for first line defense type operations, i.e. emergency medical care, emergency protective measures, and medical sheltering. The city would need to have eligible expenditures of not less than $3,300 in order to apply for any reimbursement. However, I have taken all the steps necessary to make sure that if we do have eligible expenses, we can apply until the program expires. I'm getting a large amount of emails and phone calls with requests and questions from the public, businesses, other governmental units, and elected officials, primarily due to matters associated with the pandemic, flooding, as well as the normal operations of the city. I'm devoting about 55 hours a week to city operations 7 days a week and have been doing so since the first governor's order went into effect. I'm more than happy to work as much as possible to make sure everything gets done that needs to get done. We are in difficult times, and when the going gets tough, tough get going. However, staying laser focused and prioritizing is more important than ever. It is apparent that it has become challenging to stay on top of the additional managerial workload and still manage the basic daily operations of the city with a city manager's office consisting of 1 employee. I have adjusted my email to include an auto response to notify people that their email has been received by the city and there may be a delay in responding. I'm delegating any work that can be delegated to appropriate city staff. However, some items simply cannot be 100% delegated and need some degree of my attention or review. I would ask for council's understanding right now as myself and the city staff tries to accommodate the extra workload on top of the daily operational needs that are already required in the spring in a tourist town like Saugatuck. Those are my comments. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'll entertain any comments from council or questions with regard to, I think, of your initial item about whether the council had any objections to the parade and the school activities.
Correct. I was going to proceed in that manner unless somebody has any major objections.
Right. Do I hear any comments on that? All right, very good, Kirk. Thank you. I know the city's been running very, very well, and you all are to be commended for doing a good job in these difficult times. Thanks. Next, we have any agenda changes, additions, deletions to be proposed. Anybody in council wish to make a change on the agenda? All right, hearing none, we'll move to guest speakers. Lieutenant Ensfield, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, we, as of today, we went to our, back to our normal schedule, from the 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And also, we are going to switch to the summer schedule probably in the first week of June, it looks like. So as of that, we're operating standard status quo and stuff. Been in great communication with Kirk on stuff that's going on and so forth. Very responsive, and you know, you can tell he's been working hard. So many kudos to Kirk at this time. So at that time, that's about it. All I have. So
Thank you. Any questions for this?
I do. Can you tell us, have you noticed an increase in groups coming in, or is it still staying pretty low level?
I think it's staying pretty low level and stuff. The cars that we have been seeing in the area, you know, appear to be the homeowners and stuff at you know, thing. But I haven't seen a huge influx. But you know, the weather's pretty bad right now too at times. You know, so yeah, I guess as the warmer weather comes, we'll see where it goes. But
Thank you.
Yep.
Brett?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Can you speak a bit to social distancing and what the city's going to do about social distancing as the summer progresses?
Hopefully we can put the message out, you know, and you know, definitely you know, be able to, you know, have commerce and stuff downtown. And you know, I think people, you know, really are doing a good job. And you know, in the Saugatuck area, I see a lot of people wear masks and, you know, doing the right thing. And you know, I think with being trusted, I think the majority of people will do the right thing. You know, it's just kind of what we're seeing, you know, throughout the whole county. Obviously, there is the percentage of people that you know, don't do it at times and so forth. But I think the majority of people do. And I think the ones that we have that are seeing the ones that aren't doing it really obviously steer clear of those individuals, you know, and avoid the situation themselves. So I just think you know, good advertising and good messaging as we've been seeing. So.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, Brett.
Yeah, no.
Next item is public comment on agenda items only. If you wish to make a comment, please identify yourself either by pressing the raise hand button or unmuting yourself and asking to make a comment. And if you do, please limit it to 3 minutes. Anybody wish to make a comment? Okay, hearing none. Next item is approval of accounts payable. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Barry.
I'd like to make a motion to pay the accounts payable in the amount of $41,770.15.
Is there a second?
I'll
Second. Go ahead.
Johnson, second by Peterson to approve the accounts payable. Any discussion or questions?
Mr.
Yeah.
Stanislawski is on the meeting too, so if you have any questions, he can answer them.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Karen.
I had a question about the compensation study. I see it's on here from the Michigan Municipal League for 377081. Is that study available somewhere? I know
Yes,
I've asked this several times.
Yep, I'm going to have we were planning to do this when everyone got back from vacation before the pandemic hit. So what we're going to do is I've been in touch with the MML rep, and she's going to present that study either at the next workshop or the next regular meeting. So it's really, part of the contract we have with her is that I want to have her available to present that to you. So
Okay.
you will see that again at the next workshop or the next regular meeting.
All right, and then I had a second question just for clarification. What is 457-BALIC, B-A-L-I-C? What is that?
Well, that's our retirement, part of our
Okay.
retirement. Yep.
Got it. Okay, very good.
Any other questions? Then we'll have a roll call vote.
Johnson,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Leo,
Yes.
Beckon,
Yes.
Verplank,
Yes.
Truster.
Yes. Accounts payable as presented are approved. We have no ordinances to introduce. We have no public hearings. We have no unfinished business. On to new business. Number one is the Fleece Vanderbilt road flooding mitigation plan. Kirk, you want to introduce this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The road flooding mitigation plan, I'm happy that we have this on for approval tonight. Been working on this for some time with the high water issues we've been having in Saugatuck, as well as we're not the only city in Michigan along the river that are having these issues. So we had this council engaged Edgewater Resources, and we've had Fleece and Vanderbrink participate in this as well. We were also really lucky in having one of our planning commission members, Ms. Casper, assisted with some comprehensive priority matrix, which she developed in a short period of time, and it was pretty fun working with her. I found that we have something in common, is we both like to stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning working. So that was fun dialoguing with her back and forth in the early morning hours. So I want to thank her again for doing that, because Fleece and Vandenbrink and Edgewater both got paid. So, and she did it just as a citizen. So it's great to have people like that in our community. But at any rate, the council talked about this at the last workshop, and we made some amendments to the final plan. John Moxie, the city's engineer, went ahead and made those changes. We have a budget planned out, and we're ready to really execute this plan if council wants to move forward. And I have a sample motion that was in your packet, and it's on the screen if you can see it. So that would be, if you would like to move forward, that's a possible motion that you could make.
Mr. Mayor?
Okay. Garnet, I think, had her hand up first, and then Chris.
Actually, I didn't. You're fine. I forgot to lower it from before. Go for it, Chris.
I move that we approve the Fleece and Vanderbrink Road Flooding Mitigation Plan dated May 8th, 2020, and direct staff to prepare a fiscal year 1920 budget amendment and appropriate an additional $26,700 to fund 101-441-945.000 and direct the city manager to take all necessary actions to implement the plan.
Second.
There was a move by Peterson, second by Verplank. to approve the road flooding mitigation plan. Any discussion? Barry,
Just yay, 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 yay.
Am
Johnson,
I in?
yes.
Yeah, this really came together nicely, I think, and I really take my hats off to the institutional knowledge of Mark Becken and Jean Verplank's, involvement in the fire district that brought to our attention that there is a 220-volt power source down there for the fire district. And I'd like to thank the fire district for making that available to us. And, Feast and Vandenbrink to move quicker on their feet to get a quote on that to add it to the plan. So it worked out really well, I think.
Excellent. Any other discussion? Then we'll have a roll call vote on the motion to approve the flooding mitigation plan.
Peterson,
Yes,
Verplank,
Yes,
Becken,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Leo,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Truster.
Yes. So the flooding mitigation plan is approved, and thanks to everybody for your hard work and attention on this. This is a good one, I think. We'll move on then to the second item, which is a procedural correction to rescind the motion from April 30th special meeting. Hang on while I get it up here. All right, Barry. Barry?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to rescind the motion to purchase the quick fill sandbagger in the amount of $4,600 on April 30th, 2020 special meeting of the City Council.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I think Peterson beat you by a millisecond. Moved by Johnson, second by Peterson to rescind the motion from April 30th. Any discussion? Barry? Yes, Barry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to, say why I asked you to put it on the agenda, and it's really just a housekeeping issue. We didn't follow our rules of order by not adding it, not having it on the agenda. So the mayor works with the city manager, and he sets the agenda. And if there's something really pressing, it can be added to the agenda with the consent of the council, which we've learned to experience. That's probably not a good idea either. So because it did not get on the agenda and was brought up out of order, it really obligated to rescind it. And I had a enabling motion follow up to this to buy it, and as a order item, but as it turns out, we don't need it. So.
Right. Yes, and so I think we have lesson learned, and we'll be more careful in the future. Any other discussion on this? Then we'll take a roll call vote.
Johnson,
Yes.
Peterson,
yes,
Becken,
Yes, with a caveat. My yes is based on procedural. It's got nothing to do against the person who brought the motion up or initiated the discussion. I'm sure the intent was admirable and with good intentions. Thank you.
Agree.
Leo,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Verplank,
Yes,
Truster.
Yes. So the motion is approved. We have no consent agenda, and we'll open it up now for public comment on any issues. So if you wish to comment, same thing, please either hit your raise hand button or speak up and call attention to yourself. And if you wish to make a comment, please limit it to 3 minutes. Anybody?
Also, Mr. Mayor, I want to just let everyone know if you're on the phone, you can press *6 to unmute yourself.
Okay. Asher Levine raised the hand. I don't.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Asher Levine, and I am a frequent visitor to Saugatuck. I have a question for the City Council that if this is not the most appropriate place to offer it, please let me know and I can take it offline or through email. I was planning on getting married in Saugatuck on September 12th. Due to COVID-related things, we've decided that it is best to postpone our wedding. Our plan was to get married on Oval Beach and then have the reception at Saugatuck Center for the Arts. Because we are no longer doing that and the time it took to make that decision, all of the dates in September for 2021 at SCA have been taken. In order to continue the wedding that we wanted and quite frankly to keep our deposit, we are looking at dates outside of September for 2021. The question I have here is, because the rule for City Council is to not allow weddings between Memorial Day and Labor Day, I'd like to know if there is any accommodations to an exception to that rule due to COVID to have the wedding in August. I'm happy to take additional questions or make any sort of accommodations for the event, such as making it as far to one side of the beach as possible to not interrupt any beachgoers. I did reach out to the city. Monica wrote back to me with some good information. I also reached out to Kirk, but I would probably fall under the non-essential people reaching out to him for COVID-related things. Happy to make any sort of accommodations, take this offline, answer any questions. I know I only have 3 minutes, so I'm just trying to keep this short.
All right, we understand your problem, and normally this is not an interchange session where it's a Q&A. It's more like you make your comment, but I understand your situation. I think the best way to approach this would be to reconnect with Kirk Harrier, and he may involve myself or others in a discussion about our policies and how we can accommodate you. We sure would like to have you have your marriage in Saugatuck. So would you mind doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor. I will follow up with Kirk.
Okay, you're welcome.
And Mr. Mayor, I will get some more information and I'll get council updated on that. So.
Okay, thank you. Marcia Casper had her hand raised, and somebody else does, but it's not telling me who. So Marcia, why don't you go ahead?
Oh, okay. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to say that it was great seeing those 4 projects approved for the flooding, and I enjoyed working with Kirk. Thank you, Kirk. You were great to work with. And the bill's in the mail.
Thank you very much, Marcia. Your assistant was really, really important. I appreciate you doing that. Dan Fox is raising his hand.
Yeah, Dan Fox. I just wanted to mention that related to whatever resources of the fire department end up being used by the city, that those resources are not captive to the city. Those resources are tri-community resources. And so just FYI that there may be, I think the fire board needs to weigh in on whether those are going to be provided gratis or whether the township and Douglas want to have that somehow adjusted pro rata. So as I say, just FYI, I know the fire department's been more than generous in the past on everything from parking the squad car out there to visits to the sheriff's police to the fire district fire facility for showers or breaks or whatever. And they may well be here too, but it is at least a consideration to put somewhere in the back of your hats. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcia, I still show your hand raised. Are you asking to speak? No.
No, I have to yeah, I got to put it down. So I got to figure out how.
Okay. We're all learning as we go here. I see no other hands raised, so we'll close the public comment section and move on to next item is communications. Cindy Osmond produced a memo with regard to licensing for business owners to use the right-of-way between sidewalk and curb. I think the essence here is we're trying to be as helpful as we can to provide businesses outdoor space this summer. Kirk, would you care to say anything further about that? Or Cindy is here too.
Yep, Cindy is here. And I just wanted to point out, I talked to Cindy earlier today. One thing that we did put in here, we're going to have the license effective from essentially now, and we're going to go until June 30th. I know when we talked about this at the workshop last, that was before the governor extended the stay-at-home order. So we thought just to kind of make it a little bit cleaner, we'll just say it's going to go to June 30th, and we will revisit at that time. I have had comments from some business owners, restaurant owners, and they were asking, well, if we do put tables in the right of way, can we serve alcohol? And I notified them that I reached out to my contact at the Liquor Control Commission, and I said, if you can get your liquor license extended or amended to allow for that service, then by all means you can do that. But it's not something the city can't, just because we're saying that you can have tables in the right of way, doesn't mean that that opens your liquor license permit up. So I've been informing people of that as well. And I know Cindy's online. If she has anything to say, she can jump in.
Cindy?
I'm good. I think that that's a fair reading of that. And I think our merchants will be, on the most part, very delighted with this blanket license.
Okay, thanks. Jane?
Just so people understand that that does not include the sidewalk in front of your business. People need to be able to traverse the sidewalk.
Right. Holly? Unmute yourself.
Sorry, to Jane's point, I want to thank Cindy for making this ordinance. This is great. And to Jane's point, could you send copies out to all of us? I have had some merchants get in touch, and I just want to get the word out so people understand exactly how this works right off the bat. So thank you guys for doing this.
Alrighty.
I have a question. Do you mean paper
Chris.
copies, or can't we just put it on the
No,
internet?
just email. I'm just saying if you can just send, I would like to be able to forward it to people and let them know, or post it.
Okay.
We'll get it sent out to you.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Ken?
yeah. Mark?
Yeah. I need some clarification, please. Are what you just said about liquor licenses, we are basically telling our restaurants that during the shelter in place, they can serve alcohol in that green area with liquor license, with approval from the MLCC? So in fact, they can serve alcohol during this shutdown?
Well, first of all, they would have to get, they'd have to go to the Liquor Control Commission and get their license extended. I don't see how, based on the conversations I've had with some liquor control people, for them to be able to get that in place before Memorial Day or before this order expires is going to be probably pretty difficult. And I don't think the Liquor Control Commission is probably going to issue anything during the governor's order. I just wanted to put that out there to say, more importantly, to say that it's the business owner's responsibility to get the required permits through either the health department for serving food or through the Liquor Control Commission for liquor. What we're doing is just basically offering the platform for them to do that, but they have to take those additional steps. Obviously, we're not encouraging anybody to go out there and use the right of way. And that's one of the things that we kind of wrestle with a little bit. And that's, we had this license. Cindy and I talked about making this license effective May 28th to June 30th versus May 11th. And we could, you know, there's a certain perception that I talked with Cindy about. If we do this now and businesses go out and utilize the right of way, are we therefore encouraging people to violate the order and come to town and go out there? But the issue is that a lot of these businesses have takeout. So if they have a table in the right of way and someone goes and gets takeout, that's no different than what they're doing right now, where they're going and they're sitting on a park bench or something else. So we wanted to be able to give people the ability to do that. Plus, some merchants are offering curbside pickup for some merchandise. So we kind of wrestled with that, and we just decided, you know what, we're gonna just make the date now and let the business owners that they're required to kind of get all the additional permits or anything they would need through the state. So that was our rationale behind it, but we're happy to amend that if needed.
Well, and a follow-up, Ken, to the same question.
Yeah, go ahead.
But keep in mind, we already have existing restaurants who already have permits to operate in that right of way, who have also got the extension of their liquor license to sell alcohol. So we have to be careful about our message here in this situation, I believe. I'm all for this thing, but I don't want to send out mixed messages or kind of pick winners and losers when it's serving alcohol.
Yeah, Barry?
Yeah, Mark beat me to the punch on that. That's the, a liquor license, if they applied for it and were awarded, that they have an outdoor serving license. And certainly anybody in town that has a patio already probably has that outdoor service as part of their license. So that is the point. We already have people that have outdoor licenses. And so that's got to be factored in, and a point well taken by Mr. Becken.
Cindy, you had your hand up?
Yes, this is Cindy. The blanket license is for placing tables and chairs or other merchandise in the right-of-way. It's not a license to serve alcohol or serve food. If somebody wants to get takeout food, they can use those tables and chairs for their convenience to consume their meal.
Okay. Any other comments on this issue?
Yeah, I'm not done because I tie this into the restroom situation also. And so I think that we should have a further discussion over the restrooms and not opening them when we're sitting around and encouraging people or giving them an opportunity or a place to eat their food in the right of way. We want them to come to town. We want them to go to Oval Beach and exercise. Yet we got one stinking little toilet down in the village square. It makes no sense to me. I mean, I don't know I don't make the connection between stay in place and closing your restrooms. Someone has to educate me on that one.
Oh,
And
Mr. Mayor,
encouraging people, if we're not encouraging them, we are asking them to come and spend money in our town. And to deny them the most basic need that exists, it just doesn't make much sense to me.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to jump in if I could here. And that was kind of the issue that we had with kind of wrestling with what date to start this at. My gut feeling tells me that I kind of agree with Mark, is that the effective date shouldn't be until May 28th, because that's the governor's order. So if someone could look at that, if we have May 11th, then we are therefore encouraging people to come to Saugatuck and violate the governor's order. But at the same time, what we're trying to do is, and this is a tough position to be in, because you want to balance this where you don't want to, the city doesn't want to be viewed as being difficult or anything that's not helping the businesses survive any way they can. My initial reaction when I was talking with Cindy on this is to make this from May 28th until sometime after that date. And that's just because of what we're doing. We're following the governor's orders directive. I don't know if that helps. We can definitely move it to the 28th. I think if long as that the business owners understand that. Again, we're just trying to balance everyone's needs and desires and make everyone happy, which is not always easy.
I'm not saying don't approve this license. I connect this approval to the availability of public restrooms.
And I think that I agree with that. It's a connection that we should make. Kirk?
Well,
yeah.
originally we were going to have this go into effect on May 15th, which is when the governor's order was going to be lifted. So we had it to coincide with the governor's order. And we thought, but if we do May 15th, obviously that's the governor's order is still in effect. Now what I would do
in the governor's orders, you can't open public restrooms.
Because, well, the intent of the governor's order is for people to not come to Saugatuck and recreate, really. And so what we're doing, that's why we're not collecting money at the beach. We're not opening the facilities, because therefore what we're doing is encouraging people to violate the order. So so everything that we're doing right now is really, and it's difficult to say this because you don't want to say to people, don't come to Saugatuck. But the governor's order is really saying, don't leave your house, don't do these things. So we're in a tough spot.
I think Mark's question was about the public restrooms. And I mean, our own residents use those restrooms. It isn't just visitors coming into Saugatuck. So I'm not sure that in itself is a big encouragement for people to violate the governor's order. Chris?
When do we usually open the restrooms?
Well, the restrooms are typically open by Memorial Day, but we also, because we are under the governor's order, we also have employees that are servicing those restrooms. And so it's not just about the public coming here, it's about also keeping the employees safe. So we're either we're gonna adhere to the governor's executive order or we're not. But I think if we open those things, we're gonna have to have staff coming in, and that's gonna get into a little bit of a sticky situation. That's why we do have 2 porta-johns in town right now. One at the main restroom and one at the Culver Street parking lot.
It seems to me that can we go ahead and approve or look at this as a right of way and go ahead approve that, because we do have businesses that are doing takeout. We have people that live here. I think the issue with the restrooms is a public health issue, and I would look to Allegan County Health Department for guidance on that. I'm not even clear how that's going to work in terms of virus and risk to everyone. So maybe we could separate those issues for now.
Good idea.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Barry?
Who currently services the porta-johns that we have?
That's Busker's septic service.
So they go in and clean them and hopefully disinfect them, and they do all that?
The porta-johns, correct, yes.
That's maybe an option, put in more porta-johns, to Mark's point. And we're going to pay a little more, but then that's their staff who's trained and equipped to service them. We're not putting our crew in danger, and it kind of achieves both things we want to do.
I think that's an excellent suggestion. Kirk, could you kind of pursue that?
Yeah, what I can do is, what my suggestion would be is, we do have one at the main restroom, and from the reports I'm getting, it's not being overly used. So what I would recommend is we put one at the main restroom. We have one at the Culver Street parking lot, and we can put one down at Wicks Park. I think that would be sufficient to get us through Memorial Day weekend. And then after the governor's orders lifted, everything is turnkey, ready to go. All we got to do is unlock the doors and we're ready to roll.
Okay, that sounds good. I would just suggest we keep an eye on it, and if there's more demand, than supply, consider adding to the stock, if you would.
Yep. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it with the public works superintendent. If we need additional facilities, we'll make it happen. You don't have to worry about, there's nothing that council needs to do or any vote. It's just daily operations of the city. So if we see that there's a big issue, we'll correct it.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's
One more
move.
question, Ken.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Jen actually had her hand up first.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Jane?
I would think that the 15-minute parking would be more important than tables and chairs on the curb. I would think, if people are going to come in to get takeout, if they at least have a place to park, and this will probably become more of an issue as it gets warmer, it would be nice if you had a place to park while you picked up your takeout rather than to have to walk, oh my God, 2 or 3 blocks. But I just see that as more of an issue than tables and chairs out on the sidewalk to eat in front of a restaurant. And then I would also see that we probably need extra garbage cans in the parks.
Indeed. Garnet? You're muted yet.
Thank you. All right, sorry about that. I know that this was just a communication that came from Cindy Osman, so, and I recognize why we discussed this the other day at workshop, less so about people wanting to sit at the tables and eat as it was that because of the nicer weather, and last weekend was a good example, places like the Barge had so many people milling around that it really kind of created a problem. So, as our restaurants are, they're allowed takeout, and they're trying to figure out how to keep their businesses going. This is a huge help to them. The second part of my comment is, this is a bigger discussion for us that I think we probably should have in the next workshop about the various things that the city can do related to helping not just restaurants, but retail businesses and lodging businesses basically open as best they can, given the limitations placed on them by the executive orders. So this is a bigger, broader discussion, and some of that I'll share with everybody in council comments. But I think it's probably time for us as a group to really noodle out the things that we're going to do as a city to help folks stay open.
Okay.
One more question, Ken, please.
Chris had her
Okay,
hand
I'm
up.
sorry.
Yeah, I think I think all the comments are good. I think this is a good way to take a small step so that we don't just get slammed as soon as this is lifted. And there are a lot of discussions that we can hold about what the city can do in terms of whether it's financial. We know what we can't do, but I think there's things that the city can do to help. And I think that is something that we need to have, not only just a workshop, but maybe a special meeting where we discuss the budget. We make sure people are aware of it, go through what a city can do in terms of helping with revenue, and also what our forecasts are going to be, so that we know what city services might entail that we'd have to look at. So, but I think for the start, to start now and let them have the tables outside, I think that's excellent.
Okay, Mark?
Yeah, the only question either Kirk or Cindy can answer this. And again, I support this revision or amendment to the license agreement for city right of way. However, whose authority is it being issued under? I mean, does the zoning administrator have the authority to change this license, or should it not be a motion and be approved by council? Again, more procedural, not given any, other than my support for it, but I'd like an answer to that one.
Well, Mark, we looked into that, and it just says the current existing ordinance says that a business may not display any merchandise, signs, banners, racks, or tables in the public right-of-way or park easement without first receiving a license from the city. So we interpret that in terms to expedite this is that the city issues the license, which is Cindy issues licenses and permits all the time. So we're taking the interpretation that we can do that administratively. If council is not comfortable with that, we can definitely bring it before council and approve it. But again, we're trying to expedite these things, get things in place, move on to the next item. Because even though this is important for probably some businesses, I can tell you right now, we got a lot of very, very, very important things to get done. So if we can just get this stuff done and move on and get on to the next thing, it's gonna help everybody. But again, we'll do whatever the group wants.
No, I appreciate the explanation. That's all I wanted is an explanation just like that, and it makes perfect sense. And so I appreciate it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's move to boards, commissions, committee reports. HDC, Chris?
The HDC met, and I'm guessing that this will be my last meeting. I didn't announce my resignation because I'm not sure exactly when we'll be able to appoint another person. There were two projects. The first was 237 Butler, which is the Sinbad building. And they asked to remove the awning, which was administratively approved. And then there's a door between the two fronts, and the door will be replaced with the same design as the old door, but will be a newer door, more sturdy. And then on the side, the window that's up at the top will be matched by a window down on the first floor. That was approved. The second was on Holland Street, where the duplexes are right across from the marina. And people requested the permission to build a garage there, which we gave them, and that was it.
Okay, thank you. Zoning Board of Appeals. Who does that? Cindy?
Yep.
I can do that.
Yep.
Zoning Board of Appeals met on the 30th, and they had an application for a height variance at 1034 Holland Street, where the house would be built pretty much into a cliff. So where the land slopes down to the river. And the variance was for 2.5 feet. So not a gigantic variance, but it's a very small house. And they needed the variance to get enough floor area to make it usable space. That was approved.
Okay. Those were the only commission and committees meeting. Okay. Let's go to council comments then. Garnet, you're first.
Sure, make sure I got my volume on. I just wanted to give a quick update. We had a really good Saugatuck Douglas Together Zoom meeting this afternoon at 4 o'clock. Elizabeth Estes led that again. You know, it's been wonderful to be part of an effort where so many people who have day jobs are giving voluntarily of a lot of their time to put things together for the restaurants, the retailers, lodging, and I went over this Thursday, safety and sanitation protocols, a marketing plan, a technology committee, getting people the training they need to upgrade their systems, whether it's point of sales or web pages. We had a guest on the line today, David Lorenz with Pure Michigan, which was really very, very nice. And he was extremely complimentary of this group of people, these volunteers. A couple things that he noted that is worth sharing here is they, of course, with Pure Michigan, really have their ear to the ground on as far as what is coming out in the travel and tourism industry as applies to Michigan. And I jotted down 3 things. People will be looking for outdoor seating, downtown streets being open to pedestrians only, and making sure your images show lots of open space. So any kind of marketing with open space, but the 2 that really hit home for me, people looking for outdoor seating, and people would like the roads blocked off. That's it.
Okay. Barry.
No comment, Mr. Mayor.
Holly?
I would just like to say, I think Chris mentioned earlier that it might be nice to do an extended session, maybe with some COVID. I also want to agree with what Garn said about focusing on closed streets. I love Jane's idea about maybe having the basketball court for picnic. And also, I just want to reiterate that one thing that came out of that meeting today is that there's going to be increased signage for everyone, city, businesses, just because we'll need to direct people appropriately. So that's just something to keep an eye on as well. So I would like to start thinking about what streets we might close and how, and I'd like to maybe propose that for a workshop. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Jane?
I don't have anything right now.
Okay, Chris?
Yes, I would like to go a little bit further in what I talked about with the budget. I think there's been some requests for budget meetings, and I think right now probably a lot of people would like to know what the city's revenues are like and what the forecast is going to be. We know that Peter's got that all put together in terms of revenue decreases and what funds and what we have set aside and projects that can't move forward. But I think a little beyond that, I think we have different ways the city might be available to help, whether as we heard today on that wonderful meeting, signage is going to be huge that needs to be coordinated across the community, technology, so that we're all connected that way. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that the city can do. There's things we can't. We don't have the money to give to businesses because we're not EDC or DDA or any of that. But there are other things that we can do to help, whether maybe bulk pricing or things like that. I'd like to have a meeting with that. The last thing is that I think that I'll let you know that I'm going to be doing a motion at the next regular meeting to ask for approval of a resolution to support Kirk and his staff. This is the worst crisis in my lifetime. And I think we're very, very lucky that we have someone like Kirk with his expertise and knowledge and demeanor to get us through this. Scott and his people, not only are they keeping the lawns looking beautiful, but they also have flooding and pandemic. Cindy, Monica, and Peter, they're doing their day jobs, plus they're answering all these questions from everybody else. So I'd like to ask for us to approve a resolution showing that we appreciate them. We support them 100%, and we have their backs. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mark?
I'm good, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved by Pearson, second by Verplank to adjourn. Is a roll call.
Peterson,
Yep.
Verplank,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Leo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Becken,
Yes.
Truster.
Yes. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and thanks to the